we have God of War coming out. And what I want you to do for me first, can you kind of break down what the story is so that just like I would say like those quick fire review kind of versions of it, right?
Yeah, so whether or not you played the original God of War games on the PS2, PS3 way back when, the new God of War takes place way after that. Kratos is trying to progress as a human. He had a wife that died. If you haven't played the 2018, I guess that's a spoiler, the 2018 God of War, but it's at the very beginning of the
The
game. It's
very
kind of the
beginning. Yeah,
premise of
you
the
should
game.
know. The whole point is going to a mountain.
Yeah, basically, you're trying to figure out. He's trying to figure out Kratos is how he fits in this Norse world rather than the Greek mythology world that he was in before, and how to raise a son that he doesn't seem to like throughout most of the game.
Boy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's Christopher Judge at his finest as a voice actor, but that's neither here nor there. Ragnarok is starting, so that's what this game's leading into is Ragnarok, and it looks like you're going to be battling Thor and other Norse gods that you didn't touch in the first 2018 God of War. And I'm very excited. So PS5, like basically the litmus test to see if the PS5 is what people say it is. It's going to be the game for it.
It better hold up, because this is the thing where they're like stretching it to those limits. And they even said like, well, we had a hard time because we had to make sure it worked on the PS4 as well. We'll see how it works out. Let's go over the big twist and what that means for the story. Can you tell us what the big twist from God of War 1 was? Or 4, I
Was
guess.
there what which twist? Because
okay.
The one I can think of is to do with his son.
His son, yes.
Okay, so his son is actually Loki,
Oh,
and
shit.
he's a bit of a demigod, I believe, is how they're phrasing it. 'Cause I don't know if his mom, I don't know if she was a god in the lore. I don't remember that. It was 4 years ago. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But Kratos was at one point the god of war, so he has the godly powers still, and passed some of that off to him. And yeah, his son Atreus is actually, I think Atreus was the name he went by,
Yeah.
is actually Loki in Norse mythology.
It's definitely Atreus, because that's the coolest motherfucker ever from Neverending Story. So I remember the name. Yeah, so that I love that like struggle between, here we have Kratos who's like, I'm killing gods, I hate gods, gods are the worst. Oh snap, my son is a god. A pretty dope god, by the way. And so now it's like, what do you do with that? What do you think he's gonna do going forward with that knowledge?
I think he's going to try to keep his son away from, like, that was basically the entirety of the 2018 game, was him trying to leave his son out of the whole godly affairs thing and let his son live a normal life. And it was basically a bonding game. It was the Last of Us Norse version,
Yeah.
but with the son instead of a daughter. I think he's going to try to make sure that his son doesn't grow up to resent gods the way that he grew up
Ooh, I
resenting
like
Ares
that.
specifically, and then
Mhm.
Zeus.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to backfire, and he's going to go even more into it. By the end of the game, it's going to tease that Loki is going to be the villain of the next one, potentially. I don't know. That's just what I'm guessing.
That would break my heart. That would be so
Rebellious
sad.
son. I mean, by the time that they get to that game, he's going to be older. He's going to be the rebellious teenager god. I think it's kind of just writing all the pieces for that.
The director of this game, though, has said that this is the last of this version of God of War, that they're going to move on to a different mythology and everything after this. Seeing the hype, though, I mean, they had Ben Stiller doing a whole like skit about this. There's no chance in hell that they're going to make this the end. I can't imagine that.
Well, they could, because those are the best stories, like the ones that have a beginning, middle, and end that are pre-planned, and they see it through and don't try to add anything afterwards.
Assassin's Creed.
Exactly. Like, do something brand new, like Assassin's Creed's doing now, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. That's what they're doing now. Yeah, it's much better. Yeah, so I'm interested in seeing how that furthers and how he's going to be able to help out his son and stuff like that. Why do you think the hype is so real with this game? I actually played this game. You actually saw me stream it like 2020, 2021, somewhere around there. Easy mode, I'll admit, guys. But I loved the combat myself and every bit of the Norse mythology I can learn. I was trying to soak it up like a sponge. What do you think is bringing people back so much?
It is a cinematic masterpiece.
Oh, great.
It is the modern evolution of video games. I think that's where these big budget video games are going wrong. God of War is going right. It's like they focus on making sure the combat and everything that you see and play, like participate in the game, is very fun, fast, and fluid.
Mhm.
But with the background of having a very well written and very graphically appealing world around it.
Yeah.
So it takes the best of movies with the best of video games. And I think that's kind of the future evolution of big budget video games. And Call of Duty's been trying to do this for a very long time. And for a lot of games, they've hit that, but not to the same extent that God of War does, because it's so intricate with the interpersonal stories between Kratos and each of the gods that he was killing in the original games, and then especially in 2018 and probably in Ragnarok as well.
But you're so right with the Call of Duty. That's a really good call out, shout out there because if you think of like the infamous airport scene, the entire time you're trying to embed yourself into a terrorist group and you're doing these heinous acts, and the whole time you're questioning yourself, like, I mean, what's separating me from being a terrorist right now? I'm trying to bust these guys, but yet I'm, committing these atrocities. And then at the very end, you're shot by the lead terrorist, who's like, by the way, we know who you are, popped in the head, and you're done. And so that little action piece is like, I went through so many emotions. Quite, they let you skip that mission, so right away you go into it like, I don't know if I should even be playing this right now. How American am I? So you feel bad, and then by the end you're just like, I am so freaking betrayed. What the hell? God of War does that like, but way better, obviously, and it's just gorgeous. Um, I cannot wait for this world. It's gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
Where do you want to see the franchise go from here? You think there should be a third game, or do you think they should move on to a new mythology?
Whatever best fits the story they want to write. Honestly, I trust them fully at this point. Going from the straight up hack and slash revenge story to
Yeah.
a more thought out cinematic raising a son story, essentially, or trying to the self discovery. I as well. I fully have faith in them that Sony Santa Monica is going to do the right thing for Kratos, for the brand, because they're not at this point. That's their brand. Like they
Yeah.
can't screw it up, or if they do, they're not going to be making these games in the future.
Definitely not. Yeah. I'm just hyped to see it. I'm a little worried about them changing mythologies because this one's so prominent right now. Everybody's a big fan of Vikings. Look at everything around you. And I'm worried about what mythology they'll do next. Maybe like an Egyptian mythology would be very interesting.
Oh, that would
But
be awesome.
yeah, but it's kind of like, okay, so let's make sure it's not Assassin's Creed then. They have to really make sure they don't
Yeah.
retread anything. That could be sticky. So, let's see.
That was my worry with
Valhalla.
the with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that they were going to try to be very God of War about it, and there was a lot of that in that game too.
Yeah.
But it also made it fun in its own right. So, that's tough. I don't know.
Let us know what you guys think about it. We will be streaming the hell out of that game upon release. I am like going to GameStop that morning, picking up my copy, downloading it as fast as I can. Gonna do the PS5 version, so come and check out how bad I am.